The Sarasota sun warms my face as I drive up to my parents' beach house, the Gulf waters glittering beyond the dunes. The rhythmic sound of waves follows me to the door, nature's welcome contradicting the knot forming in my stomach. I shouldn't feel this way about Thanksgiving with family, but history has taught me better. This year will be different, I whisper to myself, gripping my overnight bag with one hand and balancing a cardboard box of photo albums with the other. I've come early to digitize these memories, a peace offering of sorts. A professional gesture from Clara Whitfield, marketing specialist, to the family that never quite sees her value. The front door is unlocked, as always. Mom and Dad believe Sarasota Island is still trapped in 1975 when nobody locked their doors. I slip inside, expecting to find them in the kitchen. The house appears empty, but the aroma of coffee tells me otherwise. Voices drift from the kitchen, Mom's lilting tone carrying down the hallway. I pause, coffee mug in hand, poised to announce my arrival. Clara will handle all the cooking and cleaning, Mom says, her voice casual but certain. She always does. My brother's laugh follows, that familiar sound that once meant comfort but now scrapes against my nerves like sandpaper. That's why I never worry about holidays. Ethan responds. Clara's basically the family servant. The mug nearly slips from my suddenly trembling fingers. I steady it, coffee sloshing dangerously close to the rim. Mom laughs, not the uncomfortable laugh of someone hearing something inappropriate, but the conspiratorial chuckle of agreement. Don't say that out loud. But yes, you just focus on entertaining everyone. Something shatters inside me. Not the mug, I'm gripping it so tightly my knuckles have turned white, but something more fundamental. The illusion that they see me as an equal member of this family. I retreat silently down the hallway, decades of practice making my footsteps soundless. The guest bedroom door closes behind me with barely a click. My heart pounds against my ribs like it's trying to escape, and honestly, I don't blame it. The mirror above the antique dresser reflects a woman I barely recognize. My auburn hair is pulled back in its usual practical style, my hazel eyes wide with shock. But beyond that, I see something I've never noticed before: the permanent slight hunch of my shoulders, the readiness in my stance to jump into action at someone else's request, the posture of compliance. A memory surfaces. 12-year-old Clara standing at the kitchen sink on Christmas morning, up to her elbows in soapy water, while Ethan sits cross-legged under the tree, surrounded by wrapping paper and new toys. Just a few more dishes, honey. Then you can open your presents, Mom had said. But by the time I finished, everyone had moved on to breakfast preparation. Another flash. My high school graduation dinner that I cooked myself after the ceremony, swapping my cap and gown for an apron while Ethan regaled the family with stories about his freshman year at college. They've always seen me this way, I whisper to my reflection. The truth of it burns my throat. I unpack the box of family albums, spreading them across the floral bedspread. They were meant to be my project for the weekend, a way to preserve family history while everyone else relaxed. Now they become evidence in a case I never knew I was building. The pattern emerges with painful clarity. In every Thanksgiving photo, Ethan standing proudly beside the turkey, Dad with the carving knife, Mom beaming. Where am I? Either absent the photographer, no doubt, or visible only in the background, carrying dishes or refilling glasses. I pull out my phone, scrolling through Mom's Facebook page. Post after post from holidays past. Ethan made a wonderful turkey this year, beneath a photo where my hand is just visible at the edge, offering him the platter I arranged. Richard and Ethan prepared an amazing feast, with no mention of the 3 pies I baked or the sides I cooked. My phone buzzes with a text. Speak of the devil. Mom, Clara, please pick up everything on this list by 3 p.m. We're running behind. Attached is a grocery list long enough to feed a small army. In years past, I would have already been in my car, eager to please, desperate for the approval that never quite materialized. My fingers hover over the keyboard, muscle memory nearly typing "Yes, Mom" before I catch myself. I delete those words and type instead. I'll pick up some things. Ethan should get the rest since he's hosting. My thumb hovers over the send button for a long moment. Such a small act of resistance, yet it feels monumental. I press send. 3 dots appear immediately. Mom is typing, then stopping, then typing again. I can almost see her flustered expression, the disbelief that her reliable daughter, her family servant, has deviated from the script. The phone buzzes again. Mom, What? But you always do the shopping. The simplicity of her response reveals everything. Not, thank you for helping, or good idea to split the list. Just shock at the disruption to the natural order as she sees it. I place the phone screen down on the bed and return to the albums. The evidence continues to mount, page after page, year after year. The roles assigned to us from childhood, calcified into permanence. But roles can be rewritten, and this Thanksgiving, the family script is about to change. The morning sun streams through the guest room window as I spread the family albums across the bed. Each photo tells the same story, Ethan at the center, parents beaming, while I hover at the edges like a ghost haunting my own family gatherings. My phone buzzes again. Mom's response to my small rebellion. Clara, don't be difficult. We have a system that works. Please get the groceries. A system that works for everyone except me. I set the phone aside and continue my archaeological dig through family history. The evidence mounts with each turn of the page. Christmas mornings where Ethan's pile of gifts towers while mine sits modest and practical. Beach vacations where Dad teaches Ethan to fish while I'm captured setting up picnics in the background. A knock at the door startles me. Clara, you in there, honey? Mom's voice carries that sugary tone she uses when she wants something. Just unpacking. I call back, quickly sliding the albums under the bed. Well, when you're done, I need help with the guest room linens. Not hello, not how was your drive, not thank you for coming early. Just another task. I'll be out soon, I answer, the familiar words slipping out before I can stop them. After her footsteps fade, I retrieve my laptop from my overnight bag. An idea forms not just photos, but digital evidence. I open the family email thread, searching for patterns I never noticed before. There it is, from 3 weeks ago. We'll announce Ethan's new job at dinner Thursday. Everyone please keep it a surprise. My promotion to senior marketing specialist last month warranted no family announcement. Not even a congratulatory call. The door to the guest room opens without warning. Mom stands there, journal in hand. Clara, have you seen my... She stops, eyes widening at the photo albums spread across the bed. Just organizing, I say, the lie easy after years of practice. She nods, distracted. I need my reading glasses. Thought I left them in here. After she leaves, I notice she's left her journal on the dresser. The blue leather-bound book lies open, practically an invitation. I shouldn't look. I've always respected others' privacy, even when they bulldoze through mine. But something pulls me toward those pages. Richard and I had lunch with Ethan yesterday to discuss the family business future. He has such wonderful ideas, though he'll need financial backing to get started. After all his struggles, he deserves special treatment. Clara has always been self-sufficient anyway. The words blur as heat rises to my face. Self-sufficient by necessity, not by choice. I flip backward through the pages, finding more evidence of private lunches, financial discussions, family business planning, all excluding me. Dad's calendar sits open on his desk when I pass his study. Bold red circles mark lunch dates with Ethan labeled business discussion. No wonder my brother drives a new BMW while still living in the apartment our parents subsidize. In the dining room, I freeze. The china cabinet stands open, displaying grandmother's antique rose-patterned dishes. The set she specifically promised would be mine, the only thing I ever asked to inherit. Beautiful, aren't they? Aunt Meredith's voice startles me. She's arrived early, her designer luggage already parked in the foyer. Ethan will have such a lovely home for them once he's married. Grandmother promised those to me, I say, my voice sounding distant even to my own ears. Aunt Meredith's perfectly plucked eyebrows rise. Well, your mother thought they'd be wasted in your apartment. You're so busy with work, you hardly entertain. Before I can respond, my phone rings. Jessica's name flashes on the screen, a lifeline. I step onto the back porch. Jess, I can't talk long. Let me guess, she says, her voice carrying the weight of decades of friendship. You're already cleaning or cooking while everyone else relaxes. Worse, I whisper, watching through the window as Ethan arrives, receiving hugs and exclamations while dropping his bag for someone else me to carry upstairs later. I found Mom's journal. They've been planning Ethan's future, financing his business ideas. They gave him grandmother's china. The dishes she promised you when you were 12? That's the final straw, Clara. Don't let them walk all over you again this year. The porch door slides open. Cousin Michael steps out, phone in hand. He's 42, divorced, the family's straight shooter. Your mom said you'd be bringing in more folding chairs from the garage. I don't move. I'm on a call. His eyes narrow, taking in my rigid posture. Everything okay? Just family holiday magic, I answer dryly. He nods slowly. I'll get the chairs myself. My phone buzzes with a text from Danielle, my coworker. Remember what we discussed about boundaries. You're worth more than free labor. Inside, the chaos of arriving family swirls around me. Aunt Susan, Dad's sister, the family truth teller, catches my eye across the room and raises an eyebrow as Mom directs me toward the kitchen. The evening settles into familiar patterns. Mom at the head of the table for the pre-Thanksgiving dinner, orchestrating conversations like a conductor. Dad pouring wine, skipping my glass until I remind him. Ethan holding court with stories of his latest adventures. Then comes the moment I've been dreading. For tomorrow, Mom announces to the table. Clara will handle all preparations while we take our beach walk. She always does such a wonderful job. The expectation hangs in the air, awaiting my usual nod of agreement. Actually, I say, my voice steady despite my thundering heart. I've made other arrangements. Forks pause halfway to mouths. Eyes turn toward me. I've invited some friends to join us. They're bringing dishes to share. The words feel foreign in my mouth, the concept of not doing everything myself revolutionary. The silence stretches until it nearly snaps. Friends? Mom repeats, as if I've suggested bringing strangers in from the street. But we always have just family for Thanksgiving. Not anymore, I reply, taking a sip of the wine I had to pour myself. Aunt Susan's slow smile spreads across her face. Cousin Michael nods slightly. And in that moment of stunned family silence, I taste the first sweet bite of freedom. Next morning, the sun hasn't fully cleared the horizon when my bedroom door swings open without warning. My mother stands in the doorway, already dressed in her Thanksgiving outfit, a coral blouse, and white slacks without a wrinkle in sight. Clara, the turkey needs to go in by 7, and you're behind schedule. Her voice carries the false brightness of someone who believes they're being helpful rather than intrusive. I've already preheated the oven. I blink away sleep, the red numbers on the bedside clock reading 6:04 a.m. Mom, I told you yesterday that breakfast would be at 8. The turkey doesn't need. Your timing is all wrong. She waves away my protest with manicured fingers. Trust me, I've hosted more Thanksgivings than you've had birthdays. The door closes before I can respond. I press my palms against my eyes, counting backward from 10 the way my therapist suggested. It doesn't help. The kitchen gleams with morning light when I shuffle in wearing sweatpants and my oldest Florida State t-shirt. Mom frowns at my appearance but says nothing, busying herself with coffee preparation. I've adjusted the cooking schedule. She slides a handwritten timeline across the granite countertop. This way, everything will be perfect when the Hendersons arrive. I scan the paper. Every minute of my day is accounted for, down to 3:45, 4:00. Refresh makeup before dinner. Mom, we discussed this. Jessica and Michael are bringing dishes. We don't need to. Those store-bought contributions will be lovely additions, she interrupts. But the family expects your cranberry relish and sweet potato casserole. The family, I repeat, or you. She doesn't answer, just tightens her lips and leaves the kitchen. I've barely started prepping vegetables when Dad corners me near the pantry. His voice drops to a conspiratorial whisper, though no one else is within earshot. Your mother is counting on you today, Clara Bear. The childhood nickname lands like a weight. Don't disappoint the family. I'm not trying to disappoint anyone, I say, celery stalk snapping sharply between my fingers. I just want what we want, he says, patting my shoulder, isn't always what the family needs. Your brother had a rough quarter at work. Let's make today special for him. Ethan's rough quarter involved missing a sales bonus while still earning twice my salary. My recent promotion, the one no one acknowledged, required 6 months of 18-hour workdays. Speaking of Ethan, he sprawls across the living room sofa in sweatpants similar to mine, though no one comments on his casual attire. The football pregame show blares from the television. Clara, where are those appetizers? He calls without looking away from the screen. The game starts in 20 minutes. Make them yourself, I mutter under my breath, but my hands are already reaching for the cracker basket. By 11, the house fills with extended family. Aunt Meredith air kisses my cheek before immediately asking where she can find a mimosa. Uncle Robert wants to know if there are any of those little sausage things from last year. Cousin Philip needs a napkin for his spilled coffee. Each request lands on my shoulders with the weight of expectation. I escape to the back porch, gulping humid air that smells of salt and seagrass. My phone vibrates in my pocket. "Tell me you're not doing everything again," Jessica says when I answer. "They ambushed me this morning," I whisper, watching waves through the sea oats. "Mom was in my room before 6. "Remember what we talked about?" Jessica's voice steadies me. "You're not the family concierge." Easy to say, harder to. "Clara Elizabeth Whitfield," she interrupts. "You run marketing campaigns worth millions. You faced down the Anderson account when they wanted to change everything 3 days before launch. Your family is not more intimidating than that." I laugh despite myself. Anderson was terrified of missing his quarterly numbers. My mother fears nothing. She fears losing control, Jessica corrects. Which is exactly what's happening today. After we hang up, I find myself opening the guest room closet, where I stashed my overnight bag. Inside the front pocket, tucked between socks, is a small leather journal from high school. I flip to a random page dated Thanksgiving 2005. Did all the work again? No one noticed. Mom praised Ethan for carving the turkey that Dad actually carved. I wonder if I didn't show up next year. Would anyone realize the dinner didn't magically appear? My phone buzzes with a text from Danielle, my colleague. "Remember the Hamilton campaign? You stood your ground then too. Clients survived, company thrived, your family will adapt." The screen door squeaks, and I quickly tuck away the journal. Aunt Susan steps onto the porch, 2 glasses of wine in hand despite the early hour. "Thought you might need this." She offers 1 glass, condensation beading on its surface. "I've watched this happen for 30 years. It stops today." I take the wine. "What do you mean?" "Ellen has always positioned you as the family workhorse." Aunt Susan nods toward the house. "Richard enables it. Ethan benefits from it." "You noticed?" "Everyone notices, Clara." She sips her wine. "Few have your courage to change it." My courage feels more like desperation when I return to the kitchen at noon. The counters overflow with partially prepared dishes. Mom circles like a perfectionist hawk, adjusting my knife technique as I dice onions. "You're cutting those too fine," she says. "They'll disappear in the stuffing." I set down the knife with deliberate calm, its blade gleaming under pendant lights. "Mom, I need to ask you something important." She barely glances up from inspecting the breadcrumbs. "Can it wait?" "The Hendersons will be here by 2. "No," I say, surprising us both with my firmness. "It can't wait. Why have you and Dad always treated Ethan differently?" Her hands freeze mid-task. "That's ridiculous. We love you both the same." "Love isn't the question." I reach for my phone, pulling up the folder I created last night. Treatment Island. I show her the first photo, Ethan at 16 opening Christmas presents while I serve breakfast in the background. Another swipe, Ethan's college graduation dinner that I cooked while balancing my own finals week. Another, last Thanksgiving, Ethan holding the turkey platter that I arranged, Mom's Facebook caption giving him credit. "This is childish," she says, but her eyes betray recognition. "It's evidence," I correct her, "of a pattern. Clara, you've always been so capable." Her voice softens into something almost patronizing. "Ethan just needs more support than you do." The admission stuns me more than any denial could have. "No," I finally say, "you just give him more. There's a difference." The doorbell chimes before she can respond. For once, the interruption works in my favor. Jessica stands on the threshold, holding her famous maple bourbon pecan pie. Michael and his wife Rachel flank her, each carrying casserole dishes. As promised, Jessica announces, stepping inside without waiting for invitation. The reinforcements have arrived. My mother's stiff smile fails to reach her eyes. "How lovely, Clara. Show your friends where to put their contributions." But Jessica already knows her way around this house. She places her pie on the designated dessert table, then joins me in the kitchen, tying an apron over her burgundy dress. "What still needs doing?" she asks loudly enough for everyone to hear. Michael positions himself beside me at the cutting board. "I make a mean gravy, if you're in the market." Rachel intercepts Aunt Meredith, who approaches with an empty wine glass. "Let me help you with that. Clara's busy right now." For the first time at a family gathering, I stand surrounded by allies. The feeling is foreign but fortifying. The turkey emerges from the oven, golden and fragrant. Hours of brining and careful basting have created something worthy of a magazine cover. Dad clears his throat as we gather around the dining table. "Ethan, would you do the honors?" He holds out the carving knife. Handle first. The familiar script. The predictable roles. But not today. "I cooked it," I say, stepping forward and taking the knife from my father's hand. "I'll carve it." Silence falls across the table like a heavy cloth. 20 pairs of eyes fix on me, expressions ranging from shock to amusement to outright disapproval. But I don't falter. The knife glides through meat with professional precision, my hands steady and sure. Each slice falls perfectly onto the platter, just as they have every year, only this time I'm not invisible behind the kitchen door. When the platter is full, I set down the knife and look at the assembled family. My shoulders square, my spine straight. No longer the hunched family servant. I clear my throat and stand to make my announcement. "I have something to share with everyone," I say, my marketing presentation voice taking over. Calm, authoritative, nothing like the placating tone I usually adopt at family gatherings. I distribute manila envelopes to each family member, sliding them across the white tablecloth with deliberate precision. Mom eyes hers suspiciously, as if it might contain a scorpion. "What's this about, Clara?" Dad's voice carries that warning tone that used to make me shrink. "Not today." "Open them," I say simply, standing at the head of the table. The position feels foreign yet right. I've been gathering these for years without realizing it. Pages rustle as they extract photo collages. Each carefully assembled spread shows paired images. Me cooking while Ethan plays video games. Me washing dishes while Ethan receives compliments on dinner. Me decorating the Christmas tree while Ethan poses proudly beside the finished product. Mom attempts to gather the photos, her movements flustered. "This is inappropriate at dinner, Clara. We're trying to enjoy a family meal." "That's exactly why this is the perfect time." My voice doesn't waver. "This is when we're all together, pretending to be a family while ignoring how you've cast me as the servant rather than a daughter or sister." Dad rises, his chair scraping against the hardwood floor. "Clara, you're embarrassing yourself. This isn't how we raised you to behave. Actually, this is exactly how you raised me to behave. The difference is I'm finally seeing it clearly." I turn toward Ethan, who slouches in his chair. "And you've been happy to accept it all these years, haven't you?" "You've always been dramatic, sis." Ethan rolls his eyes, his default defense when confronted. "No one made you cook or clean. You volunteered." "Did I?" I retrieve my laptop from the sideboard, connecting it to the television with practiced ease. Let's see what the record shows. The screen flickers to life, displaying Mom's Facebook page. I scroll through post after post, projecting them for all to see. "Ethan made a wonderful turkey this year," reads one caption beneath a photo where only my hand is visible, passing him the platter. "Richard and Ethan outdid themselves with Christmas dinner," declares another, though I'd spent 2 days cooking while they watched football. Cousin Michael leans forward, coffee cup halfway to his lips. "I always wondered who actually cooked all this food. The posts never mentioned you, Clara." Mom's face flushes crimson. Her carefully crafted family image unravels thread by thread before the extended family's eyes. "Social media isn't real life," she attempts, voice brittle. "I don't document every little thing." "Except you do, Mom. You document everything Ethan does, even when he didn't actually do it." Aunt Meredith, Mom's faithful lieutenant, attempts to redirect. "Who wants dessert? Clara, didn't you make your famous pumpkin pie?" The tactic might have worked last year, but not now. Jessica stands beside me, her presence solid and reassuring. "I've watched Clara exhaust herself for your approval for years. Do you have any idea how many times she's called me in tears after family gatherings?" The revelation ripples through the room. I've never let them see me cry. Aunt Susan joins us, placing her hand on my shoulder. "I've watched this happen since they were children. Clara was assigned chores while Ethan was encouraged to play. Clara cooked holiday meals as a teenager while Ethan was treated as a guest in his own home." Mom's lips press into a thin white line. "Family dynamics are complex. You don't understand." "We understand perfectly," Jessica interrupts, gesturing toward the kitchen doorway. On cue, my friends enter carrying desserts they've brought, setting them on the table with flourishes. The visual contrast couldn't be clearer, people sharing responsibility rather than one person bearing the entire burden. "This is what family should look like," I say, my voice steady despite the hammering of my heart. Everyone contributing, everyone valued. The silence stretches, filled with the weight of decades of unspoken truth finally given voice. Cousin Michael raises his glass toward me in a subtle salute. Uncle Robert shifts uncomfortably, avoiding Mom's gaze. Even Dad seems suddenly smaller, his authority diminished under the harsh light of evidence. Ethan stares at the photos spread before him, perhaps truly seeing them for the first time. "You cannot find me in the photos?" I say, neither accusatory nor forgiving. The best family servants are the ones who become invisible. I'm done being invisible. I survey the faces around the table, shocked, defensive, supportive, contemplative. The Thanksgiving table has become the witness stand, the jury box, and the judge's bench, all at once. And for the first time in my life, I'm not the one on trial. Silence falls over the dining room as the last fork clinks against china. The remnants of our Thanksgiving meal, a feast I orchestrated but others now claim credit for, scatter across the table like evidence at a crime scene. Mother dabs her lips with a linen napkin, her eyes darting nervously toward Father. "Clara," she says, voice wavering, "perhaps you could start clearing while I serve coffee." The familiar request hangs in the air. Last year, I would have already been halfway to the kitchen, plates balanced along my forearm from years of practice. But today, I remain seated. "Actually, I think we should talk more about what's been happening in this family for 34 years. Don't change the topic now." Mother's face crumples, tears springing to her eyes with practiced precision. "After all I've sacrificed for this family," she whispers, hand trembling against her throat. Father straightens, authority radiating from his squared shoulders. "Under my roof, we don't air grievances at the dinner table. This is neither the time nor place, Clara." "When is the time, Dad? Because, for 34 years, there hasn't been one." Ethan leans forward, elbows on the table, something Mother would scold me for but ignores from him. "Holidays are about family harmony, Clara. Whatever issue you're having, can't it wait until everyone's gone home?" I notice Cousin Michael exchanging glances with his wife. Aunt Susan's hand slips beneath the table to squeeze my knee in silent support. "That's exactly the problem," I say. "Family harmony in this house means Clara does the work while everyone else enjoys themselves." Mother's voice drops to a whisper only I can hear. "You'll regret this public display." For the first time in my life, I stand at the head of the table, a position always reserved for Father. My spine straightens, shoulders no longer hunched from years of deference. The transformation feels physical, as though I've grown inches taller in seconds. "I'm not angry about doing the work," I say, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. "I'm angry about the lie that we're a family of equals when we've never been." Father starts to rise, but Aunt Susan shakes her head, and remarkably, he sinks back into his chair. I turn first to him. "Dad, when I made senior marketing specialist, you called it just a job. When Ethan got hired at the insurance company, a position you arranged, you took him fishing to celebrate and called him the future of the Whitfield name." Father's mouth opens, then closes. For once, he has no ready answer. I shift my gaze to Mother. "Mom, you taught me to serve and him to be served. You showed me how to iron napkins when I was 8, but never once asked Ethan to clear his own plate." Her tears flow freely now, but they don't stop me. They never will again. "And Ethan, my brother won't meet my eyes. You accepted their favoritism instead of standing up for me. You watched me work while you relaxed, and you never once said, 'This isn't right.'" The silence thickens. Then I reach into my tote bag beside the chair and pull out a leather-bound journal. "I've kept this for 10 years, I say, placing it on the table. "Every holiday, every unequal expectation, every time Ethan was praised for my work." I opened to a flagged page and read, "Thanksgiving 2019. Cooked entire meal. Mother introduced turkey as the beautiful bird Ethan and I prepared. Total spent on groceries, $342.86. Reimbursed, $0. Aunt Susan makes a small sound of recognition. She was there that year. I flip to another page. Christmas, 2021. Dad discussing Ethan's inheritance over breakfast. The beach house will go to Ethan since Clara will probably just sell it. I was in the next room. They knew I could hear. Mother reaches for the journal. I pull it back. There's more. Financial records of every family event I've funded. Notes you left about keeping Clara busy in the kitchen so you could take Aunt Meredith shopping. Emails. Dad forwarded me by mistake about updating his will with provisions for Ethan's future. The irrefutable paper trail of decades of systematic favoritism spreads before them. No one speaks. No one can. With deliberate calm, I untie the apron still around my waist, a birthday gift from Mother emblazoned with family chef, and place it in the center of the table. I'm not the family servant. I never was. My voice carries to every corner of the suddenly small dining room. Starting today, I am either treated as an equal, or I won't be here at all. I pick up my purse and jacket. I'm leaving to finish Thanksgiving with friends who value me. Anyone who wants to join me is welcome. The invitation hangs in the air, unexpected and revolutionary. If you want me in your lives moving forward, things change. I won't do all the holiday cooking. I won't be the only one cleaning. And I won't pretend the inequality doesn't exist anymore. Aunt Susan rises immediately. I'm coming with you, Clara. Cousin Michael stands next, his wife following. We'll join you too. 3 younger cousins who've watched this drama unfold with wide eyes push back their chairs. Ethan looks around, confusion written across his face as his audience diminishes. The shock in his expression almost makes me pity him. Almost. Mother's careful mask completely falls. How dare you divide this family? She hisses, no longer concerned with appearances as nearly half the table prepares to leave. Father's knuckles whiten against the tablecloth. The authority that once seemed absolute visibly crumbles as his carefully constructed family narrative collapses. I pause at the threshold, looking back at the remnants of the old family order. The weight I've carried for decades slides from my shoulders. A family isn't built on free labor, I tell them, but on mutual respect. The front door opens to the balmy Florida evening. For the first time in my adult life, I walk away from a family gathering with my head high, not sneaking out after washing the last pot. The family behind me may be smaller now, but it's real in a way it never was before. The November sunlight streams through my Orlando condo windows, casting golden rectangles across the kitchen island. 1 year has passed since I walked out of my parents' Sarasota beach house, leaving behind decades of expectations and a turkey I'd never get to taste. Clara, is this enough basil for the garlic bread? Aunt Susan holds up a small bunch of fragrant leaves, her reading glasses perched on her nose. Perfect, I say, sipping my Cabernet while Jessica arranges a charcuterie board beside me. The kitchen smells of roasting turkey and butter-laden mashed potatoes, but unlike Thanksgivings past, my hands aren't raw from hours of vegetable peeling and dish scrubbing. Cousin Michael leans against the counter, carving knife in hand. 20 minutes until turkey time. Anyone need a top-up? He gestures to the wine bottle. I'll take one, I say, extending my glass. Still feels strange to be holding wine instead of a basting brush on Thanksgiving. Strange good or strange bad? Jessica asks, placing the last olive on her artfully arranged platter. Strange, wonderful, I answer. The easy rhythm of friends and chosen family moving through my space feels nothing like the tense choreography of holidays past. No one is directing, no one is serving, and no one is sitting with feet up while others work. The doorbell chimes, interrupting our comfortable banter. An unexpected sound everyone I invited is already here. I've got it, I say, setting down my glass. The short walk to the door gives me time to wonder who might be visiting on Thanksgiving. When I open the door, my breath catches. My mother stands on the threshold, clutching a pie in trembling hands. Her hair is newly styled, her outfit carefully chosen, the look of someone trying too hard to appear casual. Clara, she says, her voice smaller than I remember. Mom. The word feels both familiar and foreign on my tongue after a year of minimal contact. She extends the pie like a peace offering. I made it myself. Apple cinnamon with a butter crust. For a moment, I'm 12 again, wanting desperately to please this woman. Then I'm 34, remembering the words that changed everything. Clara's basically the family servant. Thank you, I say, accepting the pie. You're welcome to join us, as a guest. Not as a director. She nods, understanding the boundary in my words. I'd like that. The living room falls quiet as I lead her in. Aunt Susan, her sister-in-law, raises an eyebrow but smiles cautiously. Jessica squeezes my hand as she passes, whispering, "You've got this." Dr. Kaplan, my therapist, would call this a milestone. 6 months of weekly sessions helped me name the manipulation patterns that shaped our family dynamic. Parentification, she called my role. Golden child syndrome, Ethan's. "Can I help with anything?" Mom asks, hovering uncertainly by the kitchen island. "We've got it covered." I answer, neither harsh nor particularly warm. Everyone's contributing what they enjoy making. Michael's on turkey duty. Jessica brought her famous charcuterie board, and Aunt Susan's handling the sides. "And what are you doing, Clara?" she asks, genuine confusion crossing her face. I smile, raising my wine glass. I'm enjoying myself. The promotion to marketing director came 3 months after my family stand. The professional recognition that followed once I stopped pouring my energy into being everyone's support system. As we gather around my table, a beautiful oak piece I splurged on after the promotion, I look at the faces surrounding me. Cousin Michael and his wife, Aunt Susan, 4 friends from work, 2 neighbors, Jessica, and now, tentatively, my mother. Dad refused all contact after last Thanksgiving, unable to accept a daughter who wouldn't conform to his expectations. Ethan texts occasionally, his messages revealing a gradual awakening to adult responsibilities he never had to learn. I raise my glass. To family, the one we're born with and the one we choose. The glasses clink in a circle of connection. My mother's eyes meet mine across the table, and I offer a small nod of acknowledgement. Not forgiveness, exactly, but recognition of her effort to step into this new reality. Traditions, I add, as Michael begins carving the turkey that 4 different hands prepared, only matter when everyone is valued. The warmth around my table has nothing to do with obligation and everything to do with choice. This is the family I'm building, one where everyone both gives and receives, where no one serves and no one simply takes. This is my Thanksgiving now.